rifle, a gun. My brother and I would have preferred to start learning how to fish by going out and catching a few, omitting entirely anything difficult or technical in the way of preparation that would take away from the fun. But it wasn't by way of fun that we were introduced to our father's art. If our father had had his say, nobody who did not know how to fish would be allowed to disgrace a fish by catching him. So you too will have to approach the art marine and Presbyterian style. And if you have never picked up a fly rod before, you will soon find it factually and theologically true that man by nature is a damn mess. The 4.5-ounce thing in silk wrappings that trembles with the underskin motions of the flesh becomes a stick without brains, refusing anything simple that is wanted of it. All that a rod has to do is lift the line, the leader, and the fly off the water, give them a good toss over the head, and then shoot them forward so they will land in the water without a splash in the following order: fly, transparent leader, and then the line. Otherwise, the fish will see the fly as a fake and be gone. Of course, there are special casts that anyone could predict would be difficult, and they require artistry. Casts where the line can't go over the fisherman's head because cliffs or trees are immediately behind. Sideways casts to get the fly under overhanging willows and so on. But what's remarkable about just a straight cast? Just picking up a rod with line on it and tossing the line across the river. Well, until man is redeemed, he will always take a fly rod too far back. Just as natural man always overswings with an axe or golf club and loses all his power somewhere in the air. Only with a rod it's worse, because the fly often comes so far back it gets caught behind in a bush or rock. When my father said it was an art that ended at 2 o'clock, he often added, closer to 12 than to 2, meaning that the rod should be taken back only slightly farther than overhead, straight overhead being 12 o'clock. Then, since it is natural for man to try to attain power without recovering grace, he whips the line back and forth, making it whistle each way, and sometimes even snapping off the fly from the leader. But the power that was going to transport the little fly across the river somehow gets diverted into building a bird's nest of line, leader, and fly that falls out of the air into the water about 10 feet in front of the fisherman. If, though, he pictures the round trip of the line, transparent leader, and fly, from the time they leave the water until their return, they're easier to cast. They naturally come off the water heavy line first and in front, and light transparent leader and fly trailing behind. But as they pass overhead, they have to have a little beat of time, so the light transparent leader and fly can catch up to the heavy line, now starting forward, and fall again behind it. Otherwise, the line starting on its return trip will collide with the leader and fly still on their way up, and the mess will be the bird's nest that splashes into the water 10 feet in front of the fisherman. Almost the moment, however, that the forward order of line, leader, and fly is re-established, it has to be reversed, because the fly and transparent leader must be ahead of the heavy line when they settle on the water. If what the fish sees is highly visible line, what the fisherman will see are departing black darts, and he might as well start for the next hole. High overhead, then, on the forward cast, at about 10 o'clock, the fisherman checks again. The 4-count rhythm, of course, is functional. The 1-count takes the line, leader, and fly off the water. The 2-count tosses them seemingly straight into the sky. The 3-count was my father's way of saying that at the top, the leader and fly have to be given a little beat of time to get behind the line as it's starting forward. The 4-count means put on the power and throw the line into the rod until you reach 10 o'clock. Then check cast. Let the fly and leader get ahead of the line and coast to a soft and perfect landing. Power comes not from power everywhere, but from knowing where to put it on. Remember, as my father kept saying, it is an art that is performed on a 4-count rhythm between 10 and 2 o'clock. My father was very sure about certain matters pertaining to the universe. To him, all good things, trout as well as eternal salvation, come by grace, and grace comes by art, and art